tell me, what is the funniest or craziest thing you have ever found in a house doing a home inspection?
Okay, I have found a coffin once.
A coffin?
A coffin in the crawl space.
Oh, no.
I'm convinced I've found human bones under a house before, but
I'd be out of there. Today, I'm chatting with a certified master inspector who's seen it all, from hidden cash to major home nightmares. Let's get to it. Hey there. Welcome to Your Real Estate Mama. I'm Jan Scott, and I'm here to help you navigate the ups and downs of buying or selling a home. I've been wrangling the real estate market for over 35 years. And trust me, with all this gray hair comes a whole lot of wisdom. I'm excited to share tips, a little humor, and plenty of encouragement to make your journey easier. Whether you're new or a regular, I'm so glad you're here. Follow the show for new episodes every week, and together we'll grow and help even more folks. Well, welcome, Riaan du Plessis.
yes,
Did I say
yes,
that right,
you did.
or am I totally botching it?
No, you did. You said that perfectly well. Thank you.
We've got the Home Boss. He's the owner of the Home Boss Inspection Service. So I want to know about the home inspection process. And I think all of my listeners really want to know what to ask for, because a lot of them never bought a home before. So they really, from the start to finish, kind of what is important, or why is it important for the buyers of new homes to do a home inspection, Riaan?
That's a great question. First and foremost, Baldwin County, it is, I don't know if it still is, but at one point was the fastest growing county in the country. So houses, subdivisions are being built at alarming rates, and these builders, they have certain amount of houses they have to close on by at the end of the month. This is the facts. There's not enough help to go around. So a lot of times they're pulling people off a house that isn't completed yet to get another house finished. And so a lot of things get overlooked. And essentially, home inspectors, we look out for the buyer. So I'm going to go there looking for something that's wrong with the house. So I'm there only for the buyer, whereas the builder, obviously is going to be there for himself and, of course, the client, but I'm only there for the buyer. Okay.
Tell me, what does a home inspection cover?
So at Home Boss, we typically focus on all the major components of the home: plumbing, electrical, the HVAC system, the roof and attic systems, and then also the structural integrity of the home. And then we'll put a big emphasis on anything that will compromise your family's health or safety, or be a high-cost repair in the near future. So, we basically check every single door, window, outlets. So it's a full comprehensive inspection.
The
attic, the roof, yes, all those.
The foundation, for sure.
Definitely, if it's got a crawl space, 100%.
What are some of the major problems that you find in homes, and maybe older homes versus, and then we'll go to newer homes? Because I know there's a lot of problems in newer homes as well. Just because it's brand new and under construction doesn't necessarily mean it's correct, right?
That is correct. So on older homes, what we find a lot is, in this area, we had some recalled plumbing. We had polybutylene, which is gray, and that was recalled in 1995. They actually started installing in houses in this area from 1979 to 1995, and then they recalled it. And then we also had Durapex, which is also regarded as a bad PEX line, and that was recalled in 2012. So that we see that a lot of older houses. Some of the electrical panels were recalled. So we still find those a lot. And then on newer houses, there's a lot of stuff that we find. But I can tell you, one of the biggest concerns for me, if I was buying a newer home that I've seen, is, look, they have to clear land to accommodate these subdivisions. So what I have found quite a lot is that the grading for the house or around the house is not adequate. In other words, should there be a lot of rainfall, and we do have that in this area. Water is either going to accumulate right at the house, or it's going to accumulate between you and your neighbor's house, and it's just going to sit there. And instead of that water running into the retention pond, behind it and stuff like that. So, there's so many variables. But at the end of the day, remember that people build houses, people make mistakes, they get lazy, they cut corners. So, we are there to find those mistakes.
Exactly. So we're out looking at homes. We've just started the looking process, and we're kind of looking maybe at an older home, then what are some of the things that we need to look for that would be like a red flag? Okay, the crack, I've always heard about cracks in the wall, the foundation problems, maybe with doors not closing right completely. What are some of the things that we need to look for when we're walking through that house?
That's a great question also. Look, inspectors, we have a trained eye, so I cannot, expect your buyers to have or our clients to see what we see. But obvious things would be for, of course, any cracks that you notice on the outside of the house. But more importantly, cracks on the inside and the outside of the house. Because a lot of times you'll see cracks on the outside, and then you go inside and you don't see any cracks on the inside, and all the windows are fine. And so it might not be that severe as when you have cracks inside of the house also. So definitely cracks. Look, if you see any gray plumbing PEX line in your house, anywhere, it's polybutylene. It's been recalled. So that's a flag right there. Because I know that some insurance companies are now frowning upon polybutylene, even though it was recalled back in 95. So any grey plumbing that you see just from walking around, that's probably going to be polybutylene. Running a faucet, looking under the sink and see if there was any leaks, just stuff like that.
Just the general thing. So if they find a home that they love, and there's a few questions about it. Of course, we always make it subject to a home inspection, a satisfactory home inspection. That's where we would call you in, the expert, of course, to come in and take a look at it. And then you'll give us a written report about what you find, your findings with pictures and stuff. Which brings me, I noticed that when you did my last home inspection, you had the most wonderful tools that I've never seen. I've been doing this a long time, and they didn't have the tools that you had back 15, 20 years ago to see behind the walls or to see what's going on. Tell us about all your fun tools that you've got.
Yes. I really wanted to be the one-stop shop home inspection business. In other words, you come to me, I can do it all. So some of the additional services that we do or provide in addition to a home inspection would be we do mold testing. So in other words, you move into a house or you doing your first walk through the house and you smell this odor and you're a little bit concerned about the breathable air. Maybe your children have compromised immune systems. So what we can do is we can take a sample of the air by running a machine inside the house. And we typically collect 2 samples inside the house and 1 outside, which is your control sample, which is what the lab uses to compare the inside samples to. And we can send that off to the lab, and they'll tell us exactly what's in the breathable air. In other words, if there's mold and what types of mold and what levels. We can also send a camera down your sewer line. So we send a camera down your sewer line and make sure that, there's no blockages in your sewer line. So we can scope your sewer line, essentially. And then, of course, we have infrared cameras. So we can basically see behind walls, see if there's insulation behind the walls, possibly detect electrical fires, possibly detect leaks that haven't come to the surface yet. Pretty much whatever there is related to a house, we're going to be able to provide.
That is great. And mold is such an important issue with so many people with so many allergies. So that is number one thing to check out, especially here along the beautiful Alabama Gulf Coast. We have a lot of moisture, of course, and so it's very easy to
Yeah,
form.
I mean, we live in the South. It comes with the territory. There's mold everywhere, and people are concerned, and rightly so. Not only do we test for it, I have a very good understanding of mold also. So I'm also I wouldn't say I can look at mold and tell you if it's dangerous or not. I'm not. No, I don't think anybody can do that. But what I'm saying is, there's surface mold, and then there's, your more toxic molds. And sometimes it's, when you see it on a daily basis, it's just easier to differentiate between those.
Great. Well, it's amazing that you've got all those tools now to be able to see that.
Yes.
It is really good. Now, talk to me, too, about termites. They love this Alabama soil. They love this Alabama weather. So tell me what to look for, too, when we're kind of walking through.
Yeah, so look, I mean, I tell you, we have done a lot of inspections in Midtown Mobile, those older houses that they're now trying to bring back, which I love to see. But, a lot of those crawl spaces, you'll crawl along because you literally are crawling in those. And you'll see a joist that looks 100% intact, and you put your hand on it and it'll just disintegrate because, they eat it from the inside out. What I see a lot is, unfortunately, is people are trying to hide the damage. So what they do is they fill it in with a filler or a caulk. They caulk it and then they paint over it. And that's where your trained eye comes in. And so, because I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. I've done a house recently where I just from walking around the house one time, I called the home, the buyer, and I said, "You are aware of the wood rot?" And she said she had been there several times and didn't see any of the wood rot, and it was all over the house just from walking around. So, because they were able to hide it so well. So it's difficult with termites for an untrained eye to identify it because people will try and hide it.
So it's so important. In your inspection, you will look for these things, and then we'll know to get the termite company out to do a more thorough exam of it. Tell me, what is the funniest or craziest thing you have ever found in a house doing a home inspection?
Okay, I have found a coffin once in...
A coffin?
A coffin in the crawl space.
Oh, no.
I promptly crawled past it. I don't want to know.
Did you open it?
I did not. I once found an envelope full of cash. So a pedestal sink, right? When you run the sink, the faucet on a pedestal sink, you cannot see the pipe behind it. So what I always do is I run my hand behind it so I can feel if it's leaking. And I went all the way down and I felt this something, and I pulled it out, and it was
wad of cash,
just hundreds. I looked at it, so I put it down, I took a photo of it, I put it in my reports, and I documented it, and I put it back. And I don't know what happened after that, but
your job was to report it. That was all, right?
I felt like I needed to. I did it because I was like, what happens if somebody put it there and they forgot about it? At least this way, it'll be out in the open, and then it'll be discussed, and then. I mean, I've had run-ins with animals. I've crawled in a crawl space before and looked up, and I've had a raccoon looking down on me because they found a little hole and they crawled in. And yeah, I mean, I'm convinced I've found human bones under a house before, but I'd
be out of there.
That's just me in my mind, probably.
I don't think I would ever crawl under there to begin with. But oh my goodness, that's too funny.
It's good times.
You've got a whole lot of credentials behind your name. Can you share with me what the difference is between you and just, let's say, Uncle Larry's home inspection service?
So right off the bat, I want to say that there, as far as I know, and the last time I checked, there are only 3 licensed commercial building inspectors in this area. I'm one of them. And I'm not talking about Florida. I'm licensed in Florida also. But so what I'm saying is a lot of home inspectors will say, yeah, I can inspect a commercial building. Yeah, maybe they can, but they don't have the credentials. So that's one thing. And like I said, there's only 3 of us in this area. And then as a home inspector, I'm a certified master inspector. So that's about as far as you can go. They are, quote, unquote, supposed to be the best inspectors in the world, quote, unquote. And I did my training through an organization called UNCUT, which is the biggest home inspection industry in the world, with over 30,000 inspectors worldwide, not just in this country. And they have education for days. I mean, if I do a course every day, I would do one for the rest of my life.
So it's amazing to look for those credentials. And for those that don't live along this beautiful Alabama Gulf Coast like we do, what do they look for, like if they're in other parts of the country, to make sure that they are as qualified as you are? Is there a certain website they can go to, or to look them up, say if they're up in Tennessee or other parts of the country, California possibly?
Yes. I mean, it also, you can go to internachi.com, which is, again, the, International Association of Home Inspectors, and you can enter any area or zip code in there, and they will pull up all the inspectors from there, so you can verify somebody that way. You can also go onto Certified Master Inspector and put in the zip code. You can also go to, if you're buying a commercial building, you can also go to their commercial website, and you can put in a zip code, and it'll pull up
what? So they'll have the same qualifications that you do.
They will have the certified, they'll have all the inspectors on there. So that's the way you can verify that they are indeed certified.
Okay. Riaan, tell me, when you're doing a home inspection, do you prefer that the buyer be present when you're doing the home inspection or not?
I wish there was like a rule, because I feel like the buyer should be present, but I feel you should be present towards the end, because he's gonna get the most bang for his buck, so to speak. Because at the end, I'm finished with the inspection. I can show you what I found. Not just can I can show you, physically. I can go, instead of just showing you on the report, I can go, hey, look, this. Hey, that piece of wood, it is rotted. I can show him.
You can actually show him what you're talking about, instead of him just seeing the picture on the report.
Yes, and it's a lot more. And people visually, when people see things visually, they get a better understanding of things. So I think a buyer will gain tremendous knowledge about the house he's about to purchase if he does attend the inspection. But it has to be towards the end, because that inspector is working for him. He needs that time to focus on his inspection and to make sure that he, gets all the areas. Most of my buyers get bored.
Right. So the best thing for a buyer to do is to come toward the end. Like your typical home inspection, let's say on a 2,000 square foot house, takes an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe?
Yeah, it'll take us more, because we do our reports on site and we send our reports when we're done. But it just depends on the size of the square footage, or the year built, the foundation, because if you have to go into the crawl space, it takes longer, and then the condition of the home. On paper, I can tell you how long it's going to take, based on experience. But sometimes we get to a house that maybe is only 10 years old, but it's got issues. They had a storm and they never fixed things, and now so you have to document all that stuff, and it takes time.
Right. So the buyer should come toward the end of the time that you tell them. So you've had your time to just do and focus on the house, and then you can give them a report and show them at the end of your inspection time there. And I know a liability, I do not attend inspections. I'm totally useless. I would be a body sitting on the corner, because I'm not an engineer. I'm not a home inspector. A realtor does not know these things. And so it's more important that is your time to shine. You go through, because you're the expert, and you can point out the things that need to be further attention. Let's say if you do question a foundation problem, then at that point you would recommend a certified structural engineer to come in and say, we need even additional attention to this spot.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, they will get great information if they come towards the end of the inspection. And like I said, I really wish that was a standard, because it will be so beneficial for all parties involved. Look, in the ideal world, I would love to send my reports wait a couple of hours, and then call that client and, hey, did you have any questions? But we cannot, because everybody's busy. If I call that client, he's busy, he can't talk, then he calls me later. I'm at another inspection. We do 100 inspections a month. It becomes crazy.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I would love and if the buyer cannot be there, then because he's out of town, because we do get a lot of out-of-town buyers, don't you agree?
Exactly. They're not able to attend the inspection.
Then I've done FaceTime with them before. I've done phone calls. So, again, towards the end would be the best.
That'd be great. I love your accent.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about where you're from.
So I was born and raised in sunny South Africa. It's not so sunny now. There's snow everywhere, apparently.
Oh, wow. Snow in Africa.
It's like in the cities. Normally it's in the mountains. So anyway, So I was born there, lived there for the first 30 years of my life. I was very fortunate, grew up near the main game reserve. So my childhood was filled with wildlife and... and then I met a young lady from Mobile, Alabama.
Wow, a Southern girl.
Yes, and the
rest is history. Miss Courtney.
Yes, we got married.
It's great. Okay, I think I've got all the questions on my list. Is there anything you want to just share, or anything that you think we missed?
If there's anything I could say to anybody that has any doubt in having a home inspection, because believe it or not, there's 85% of people that buy houses are opting not to have a home inspection. 85%. That means 15% of people that are spending probably the most money they're ever going to spend in their lives, that's only going to increase in value. They're opting not to inspect it for a mere average $450. So I just, if there's anything I can tell people today is that's a mistake. I mean, you'd never buy a car and not take it for a test drive. We'll take that house for a test drive for you, and it's important.
There's nothing more disheartening than moving into a new house and 2 weeks later having to replace plumbing pipes or septic tank issues. If toilets won't flush.
I'll give you an example. Like, I remember the one day I was inspecting a house, and it was just small things, but I remember I went into the kitchen, turned the light on, light didn't turn on. I was like, oh. Turn on the faucet, water didn't come on. I was like, oh. And then I turned on the oven, and then the oven turned on, but one burner didn't work. And I thought to myself, imagine this is my first night in my house, and I chose not to get a home inspection. And this is what you're dealing with. And then your kids are hungry. There's, you know what I mean? This is how you're starting off your home.
Your dream home, and it's not starting off so well.
It's not worth it.
Can turn into a nightmare in a hurry without that home inspection. Yes. So it's definitely important.
That 85% has to become 100%.
Riaan, thank you so much for joining me today. What great information you've given us. And how can the people get a hold of you if they want to contact you? Give us some good contact information.
Yes, so our direct number would be 251-230-9595. And we are open 7 days a week. And you can also go to our website and www.homebassal.com. And on that, you can, there's a link there that you can, book an inspection also.
Very impressive website, too. I've been on your website. Great.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's a wrap. Follow the show for new episodes every week. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, or comment on your favorite podcast platform. Feel free to send me an email to jan@yourrealestatemama.com. I love hearing your questions and comments, and I'd be happy to help you find a great real estate agent anywhere you live. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at Your Real Estate Mama Podcast. Until next time, y'all take care. Happy house hunting, and remember, you should always listen to your mama.